Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going over these top altcoins that can make you very, very rich in 2024 and 2025. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go over the portfolio here. You guys are probably wondering, oh, well, what did you buy lately? So we're going to go over it. Okay, so we bought some Filecoin. I can't remember exactly how recently this was. As you guys know, we have a large position in Filecoin. So a few days ago, basically just bought a few. Again, we have a pretty large balance on this. I mean, it's not like astronomically huge, but 4,000 total in Filecoin. And again, our average cost basis is $7.50. So it's relatively low compared to the all-time highs. And I believe the most recent position, if I'm not mistaken, we did just buy this morning was Zcash. So Zcash looks like it wants to rip to the moon. I'll show you guys just how far off the previous all-time high. Well, it's not actually Zcash's all-time high. Zcash's all-time high is like $1,200, but last cycle this thing topped out at like $330. So we'll show you how just how far off that is. Okay, so it looks like we purchased this yesterday. I guess maybe it was AIOZ that we bought this morning. Sorry, y'all. It's been a busy day, so also did not get a whole lot of sleep last night. It does happen. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was AIOZ. Yeah, so here we go. So 54 cents per token on average. Got roughly about 74 tokens. So that's what we bought this morning. We have, I think, roughly 2,200 in AIOZ, 600 in Zcash, and 4,000 in Filecoin. So you can see all the different positions we have here. We have Filecoin, AIOZ, Horizon Dash Render, Banker, Crypto.com, Zcash, Ethereum, Scale, Engine. We have to transfer Engine off of here because for some reason they delisted it. I don't know why. Litecoin, we're definitely probably going to buy more Litecoin because I do think Litecoin will do well this cycle, especially oscillating with the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And Algorand. We also have some Algorand, although it is not actually on here. So those are all the positions that we currently have. Okay, so let's get into the charts here. So Litecoin, pretty much what we're looking at here is roughly about $58 to $64 at support, 77 to 80 at resistance. I think, even in the middle of this zone here, Litecoin is still relatively cheap. So $70, you guys can see it hit a peak, the highest peak back here in July at 113. But again, even that peak is quite small compared to the previous all-time high, which is $413. So if Litecoin were to go back to the all-time highs from the current price, it would be a massive 6x. That does not include if it goes to new all-time highs. So you guys can see Litecoin is still down at nearly 84% from the previous all-time highs. So this thing is, in my opinion, a steal. It's still relatively cheap. So let's go into Aleph. We'll talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum in separate videos, but just so y'all know, Bitcoin does still look very, very bullish. Okay, just a quick glance at that. Bitcoin is potentially getting ready to break the top of this bull flag. We had this massive rip up, and it looks like we're getting potentially a shooting star candle. We're pretty close to it. If we get a close above this top level here, that should be a breakout signal. So Aleph, this is another AI token. This is one that we're looking at. We have not actually bought any yet, but we are keeping this on our radar for now. It's a pretty popular one, if I'm not mistaken, and it is also relatively new. So, whoops, wrong color. So we're trying to kind of draw in the zones here. So you got support and resistance here. So 16 to about 18 cents, 43 to roughly, let's see here, 46 cents. So, it's much closer to support than resistance. I would say that's a pretty good buy area if you ask me. So 134% just to get back to the highs up here. You can see that's also where the all-time high actually was, apparently on the listing of this thing in the last bear market. So if it breaks that all-time high, likely this thing is going to squeeze much, much higher. Before I go any further, I'll give you guys the measurement here. Again, this is not much of a move, 12%, but I mean, if you're not really aiming for that, if you're aiming for, let's say, the most recent swing high, it would be a much larger move, so 59%. Just so you guys know, there are people that literally swing trade and day trade these tokens for a living on various exchanges, whether overseas or in the United States. Even Coinbase has a trading platform. So Gemini also has a trading platform, just so y'all know. I mean, there's some of them offer leverage, some don't. I'm not going to make any suggestions here as to anything, whether you should or should not use a crypto exchange to trade or invest, or it's your guys' money, your life, you do what you want. All I will say about using the overseas exchanges, if you do that, you do have to, I believe, if you have greater than 10,000 at any point aggregate value, as they call it, in any given year, you do have to report that to FinCEN. Again, I don't want to get into that. That's tax stuff, but I just wanted to throw that out there. It's typically why we don't use overseas exchanges, because it just makes it more complicated to do taxes. So AIOZ, 33 cents to roughly about 49 cents. I believe our average is like about 72 cents. So it's probably somewhere around the middle of these two zones. So 97 to $1.19 here. So from the current price all the way up to the resistance high up here is 114% move. So you guys can see that basically the all-time high is just slightly higher than this previous swing high here. Again, in my opinion, AIOZ is one of those tokens that could do stupid returns. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the market cap for this thing is like 500 million. Binance went to over 100 billion in the last cycle with a B, and Dogecoin went to 90 billion. So, I think AIOZ could probably easily go to 10 billion. I don't think that's impossible. That would be about a 20x, which means the price would have to go up to about $10 a token. The market cap would go to about 10 billion. So that's, 20x 500 million. I think that's absolutely possible. If AI is going to be as big in crypto during this bull run, which I think it's going to be, then I could actually be underestimating the move here. So Algorand, this one unfortunately hasn't really done much. So support here at 9 to about 10 cents, and then you have 15 to 16.5 cents. If you guys want to know the upper bounds here, 28 cents to roughly about 30 cents, all the way up there. So just to get back up to resistance here, 18%, and then to get all the way to the top of this zone, this upper zone here, 115% move. Algorand is, very similar to Zcash and Filecoin. Hasn't really done much. I mean, a lot of the attention was on the meme coins, but just to kind of reiterate here, this thing did have a very explosive move up. So you can see that the previous low here was 13 cents. So it went a little bit lower this time. And then the high up here was 282. So this thing is actually still very, very undervalued. You guys can see that even though Bitcoin is at all-time highs and Ethereum is more highly valued, and some of these tokens have gone up a lot, we haven't really had a true alt season. Like I've been saying, the Bitcoin dominance hasn't fallen off yet. You guys can see that we're still down 95% from the previous peak on these tokens. So I'll just show you guys the Bitcoin dominance one more time. So we got to see something like this huge waterfall moment in order to see these alts rip. And as you guys can see, the Bitcoin dominance is still going up. So until that happens, in my mind, it's just accumulation mode for the altcoins. Not going to go over BCH or Bitcoin Cash in this video. Again, Bitcoin Cash is a much higher cryptocurrency. Maybe do that in another video. So Banker Network, this one's relatively low cap, so 33 cents to 45 cents here. So you got 84 cents to about 99 cents, or we'll just call it $1 to get back up to resistance here, just from the current price to the resistance level, 69%. And then if it gets, let's say you get your price somewhere down here in the middle, all the way up to the resistance level, 143%. Once again, I just want to show you guys just how stupidly undervalued these altcoins are. 59 cents is the current price. The previous peak was at $9.43. Okay, $9.43. This thing's nearly 95% off its all-time highs. If I just give you an estimation here, let's just say 940 divided by 60 cents, just to get back to those peaks, 15.5x. And that's just from the current price. That's not if you get your average all the way down here. If you get it all the way down here, it could become much more. Compound, this is one that we've been looking at. We've kind of been waiting to see if it's going to get back down to the support. It really hasn't done it. Plus, we've also been accumulating some other tokens as well, but we have kept our eye on this one. So 26 to 34 here, 66 to 90. So measured move from the current price to the resistance zone, 91%. And if you get it somewhere down here at the lows, if it goes back to the lows, 220% move. I believe Compound topped out at like $900 in the last cycle. So yeah, this thing was at $930 a token. So you guys can see just how insanely undervalued this is. Again, roughly about 95%. Crow, same thing, 9 cents. The peak was all the way up here at basically almost $1, so 99 cents on the peak. Measuring from the current price down to the peak, you can see just how undervalued that is, 91%. Again, not as much as something like Compound, but still, that just goes to show you that altcoins really have not had their time in the sun yet. So you guys know you can see on the charts now that basically the altcoins haven't really moved, and I'm literally not making this stuff up. You can see the reflection between the Bitcoin dominance going up. It hasn't had a sell-off yet, leading to an all season, and the altcoins haven't really moved. I mean, they've moved a little bit from 5 cents to 18 cents. Okay, that's a 3x, but it's not the face melting gains that we're used to seeing in crypto. So you have 4 cents here on Crow to 6 cents. Crow is one of those ones that we have. So 10 cents to 13 cents, 15 cents to 18 cents. And again, this is a crypto exchange token. So basically, when the Bitcoin bull run, the altcoin bull run starts, in theory, this token will probably likely moonshot because again, it's a crypto exchange. People are going to go on there to buy crypto. They're going to ape in, and then the price of the Crow token is going to go up because of the volume and because people want to buy the Crow token, and people also want to buy tokens that they can buy on crypto.com. So 46%, and then we have 105%. And then if I go down here to support, which I'm not sure it's going to go back down that low, but we'll see. So 149% to 250% move here. Dash, this is another oldie but goodie in my book. So support down here, 23 to 26. I never actually thought Dash would get this low. So 35 to 38. Again, this thing is pretty much sitting on support. You guys can do what you want with that. 46% move here. It's hard to say exactly when these will move. They will move at some point. Like you can see this thing went in February 23 all the way up to $76. So it can happen. It's just very, very hard to predict when it's going to happen. But you can see that even the previous peak was massive compared to the current price, $480. I mean, even if this was at a $30 price right now, you'd still be talking about roughly I'd have to do the math on this. It's a lot. So 95% down just from that peak. So 480 divided by 26.5, let's say, an 18x on something like Dash. And again, Dash is not really very popular in terms of being a token, but I would definitely say it's possible. So Dogecoin, of course, we got to go over the meme coins because they're meme coins. These things, everybody loves memes, right? Meme coins, meme stocks like AMC. People just, for some reason, love them. I don't know why. So 9 cents or 9.5 cents to 11 cents here. And then you have roughly about 15.5 cents to 18 cents. So this thing could do, I think, roughly about a 30. Okay, so 40% gain here. If it gets back into support, then it becomes an 80% gain. Just to show you guys the insane peak on Dogecoin up here, 75 cents per Doge, which is kind of crazy that we're still sitting at these lows here. But again, Bitcoin is not supposed to go to all-time highs till the end of the year. We're not supposed to have an alt season until roughly about Q1 of next year. So am I surprised these are down 80 to 90% still? Not really. So Dogecoin down 84% as of right now. ETH Classic, you guys can see the previous cycle peak here. So yeah, this thing really did rip and ramp up hard with Ethereum. It went to 175 at the peak. The current price is only $23, so it's essentially nothing. So just measuring down to that level, roughly, it's down about 85 to 87%, somewhere in there. Okay, so support down here, 22, we'll just call it $23 to $25, and then resistance up here, 41 to about 46. It's currently in the buy zone. You guys can do what you want to with that. 103% gain here. I'm going to skip fetch because of the merger thing. We'll talk about some other ones. So Filecoin, we have $2.40 to $3.25, and then $8.53 to $11.37, all the way up there at resistance. It is much closer to support than resistance. You guys already know how I see this. So 160% move here if it gets into support, then goes up to the resistance level 338%, just to show you guys just how cheap, how unbelievably dirt cheap Filecoin is. I mean, this thing is just a screaming buy, in my opinion. I mean, the peak was at $240. We're currently sitting at what, $440? So nearly, basically almost 99% off the previous all-time highs. I can actually give you guys the numbers here of what that would be valued. If it just simply went back to all-time highs from here, it'd be about a 54x on Filecoin. I mean, if this thing can do a 54x, I can only imagine what Philg is going to do. Okay, so we'll do Gala. Sure, we'll do Gala. So we have basically a penny to 2 pennies here, and then you have roughly about 6 cents all the way up to 8.5 cents. It's much closer to the buy zone than the sell zone. 304% gain here. Just to show you guys once again the previous, yeah, this is really crazy. The previous peak up here at about 86 cents. So I don't know how many X's that is from the current price. It's like a 40X or something like that. Pretty insane. If it did go back up there, I wouldn't be shocked, even if it went past all-time highs. So Graph, this is another popular one that a lot of people like, and a lot of people like this one in the last bull cycle. It was very popular. So 17.5 to 24 here, and then 30 to 33.5. So you're looking at roughly about a 73% move here. Again, I'll reiterate, we really haven't seen the big pump on alts yet. I mean, I think these things are just getting warmed up. It's $2.93 at the peak, which is well over a 10x, almost a 15x on this thing. ICP, this one's very popular. We've been thinking about getting this one, but we wanted to get some others first. So 750 to 985 on support, 1470 to, we'll just call that 1770 on the resistance up there. So about 96% gain. And again, I don't know that I'll be counting this. You guys can see how ridiculous this is. I don't know that it's going to go that high, but again, I don't want to underestimate this. I'll just simply say that if it just went back to this level right here at $88, you'd still be looking at nearly a 9x, which is insane. Yeah, we'll skip IOTX today. I don't think that's like super popular as of right now. So, I mean, realistically, any of these altcoins, and probably most of these altcoins, will moonshot during the alt season. That's what happened last time. I mean, we saw things like Tron, Digibyte, and Bitcoin Gold moonshotting, and everybody thinks those are scams and Leo tokens. So, yeah, all those went up massively. So that should tell you something. Okay, so $5 to $5.90 on support, $16.90 to about $18.50, somewhere in there. Link is much closer to resistance than support, so I'd be waiting for a pullback on this one. So 235% move here from support to resistance. Just to show you guys the peak on the previous cycle, $54. I mean, it could go up much higher than that, probably will go up much higher than that, but personally, I would rather buy other things instead that, in my opinion, are much cheaper. So mana, this one's looking pretty good. It's firmly in support. So 26 cents to about 35.5 cents. And then you have 68 cents to up to 84 cents up here. So the move here would be roughly about 150% gain. So in terms of the longer view, if you're more of like a hodler, in this case, you'd be looking at nearly a 20x, roughly about a 20x just to get back to the highs. I mean, this thing is stupidly undervalued. Again, this is a metaverse play, and this is also a gaming play as well. So down currently about 95%. Again, we haven't had a real alt season. So those of you guys that are wondering why the Grayscale Trusts haven't ripped to new all-time highs, that's probably part of the reason why, would be my guess, is because we haven't had a falling off of Bitcoin dominance and a true alt season. So support, we're pretty much looking for the highs up here. Render is going to be about 560 to 757. 1365 all the way up there at the high. Again, this is pretty much sitting at the lows, so you guys can do what you want to with that. We do have some. We will probably be buying more, just don't know when. So 122% gain here. Shiba Inu, everybody loves this token. Any dog related coin, everybody loves it. So you have basically 1500 to 1800 at support, and again, it is sitting at support, so you guys can do what you want to with that. 2700 and 3600 respectively. So just from where it currently sits to this resistance is a 114% move. Again, that's roughly about double your money. And the all-time high for SHIB was almost, well, it was basically 9,000. So over 9,000, almost 10,000. Scale, this is another one that we like a lot. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a layer 2 solution. So 2 cents here, all the way up to 3 cents on support, 7 cents to about 8 cents. Again, it's sitting roughly about the middle of support and resistance. So this is one that we don't really want to touch right now. So 54%. And then you have a 220% move just from those lows. But you guys can see that the all-time high for this thing was insanely stupid compared to the current price. So $1.25 compared to 5 cents. I mean, that's like, what is that, a 25x on this thing? And that's if it just goes to all-time highs. If it goes to price discovery, that would be much different. So Solana, this is a hot one. So as you guys can see, the previous all-time high is not far from the current price, so 261. If I was going to get into this short or long term, I would still wait for a pullback. That's just me. So support 136 to 145, resistance 202 to about 216. So that would be about a 53% move. Again, I think Solana's up massively. Part of the reason is because of like the Solana related projects that everybody's trading and buying and stuff like that, and the potential of a spot Solana ETF. But a lot of these altcoins are just kind of lagging behind Solana. They haven't really had a big move yet. So track or origin trail, you have 45 cents to about 53 cents. We'll just call that 80 cents to 98 cents all the way up at the peak here. Again, it's roughly about the middle. I'd still be waiting for a pullback on this one. 107% move here. We did own this one back in 2022, and we sold it for a profit. So we haven't had it since. So $6.24 up here at the high. As you can see, it's roughly about a 9 to a 10x just to get back up there. Super duper cheap, in my opinion. Tezos, this is another one that we had in the previous cycles. So 64 cents to 81 cents, $1.26 to about $1.46. It's in support, so you guys can do what you want to with that. I mean, literally not even that long ago, it was at like almost $2, so 87% move here. That was just back in March, just so y'all know. Again, this little baby pump right here, I don't think that's really the move. I just don't think so. You guys can see these insane swings we got before this thing even really started ripping. You see these little tiny peaks here, and then they got bigger and even bigger. I mean, Yeah, to say this is the only move that Tezos is going to get, I really highly doubt that. So the all-time high is at $9.14. So you're talking maybe 11, 12x here. You can see it's still down a massive 92% from the previous all-time high. Zcash. So we'll go over two more. So Zcash and Zen. So Zcash, this one's much closer to resistance than support. Again, support is down here at $19 to $23. I never actually thought I would see Zcash that cheap. It always kind of sat at the bottom somewhere around the $40 range. I don't think I ever saw it get lower than that. So 33 to 35 up here at resistance. We have been buying some on anticipation of a breakout, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. So 73% here. And just to show you guys the, excuse me, the potential here, the peak in the last cycle was almost, I mean, it was almost $400. So you're talking at least a 10, 11x on this one. Zen, I mean, this thing is just like stupidly cheap. It's almost a 14x from the current price. So 92% move here, or 92% down from all-time highs, I should say. And cycle over cycle, peak over peak, this thing did have new highs. So I'd be waiting for a little bit of a pullback on this one. So 545 to about 690, and then 1170 to 1330 here on resistance. If you wait for the pullback, you could be looking at potentially as much as roughly about 130% gains. So once again, like I'll tell y'all, like I said before, it does appear that this may turn into a support zone. I thought it was going to sell off from this point, but clearly it's not, probably not the right time yet. So we'll just have to wait and see on this. If we do get some kind of sell off, maybe it comes up here, tries to test this zone, then shoots back down to this as support. Then maybe kind of chop sideways like we saw here, and then sells off down to this lower support here. Something like that could happen, but we're looking for a big move like this to indicate a massive alt season. We just simply haven't seen that yet. So until we see that, which again in my mind is probably going to be roughly about 6 or so months from now, the Bitcoin dominance is probably still going to go up and or sideways. And then when we get that waterfall moment, I will be sure to let you all know. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.